Good. All right, guys. I'm so excited to do this book study with you guys because I started reading this book after I saw some of the Jewels and the Diamonds. Reading this book, and I loved Valerie where she spoke on Super Saturday. I loved her story. And so I just thought that this was such a good book. It's so relevant to just life as a woman, as a mom, in business. And it is just so just like I'm trying to find the right words. It's tangible. Like this is tips that you can actually use, adopt, and put into action. So I know the first little bit is not very like interesting and exciting, but once you get into these like habits, you will really start to see like all of this come into play, like, and you'll be able to relate it to your life. And that's what I want you to do as you're reading this book, is really look at things that you can take and adopt to apply into your own life as a wife, as a mom, as a friend, as a business owner, and all of those things. I think that is what's most important here. So I love the notes that Leah dropped in the chat. Like, honestly, like if anybody could summarize my notes, she did it almost perfectly. What I wrote is like about the introduction. It's just that people think success is like unfulfilled work, that they have little time for themselves. It's not meaningful. Guys, that's what the American dream really is working the 9 to 5 until you're 65, retiring and living off a little amount of money. And like, that's the American dream, and being in debt and all of those things. Like, this is, we are chasing a different American dream. We're chasing the time freedom, the flexibility, the no debt. Like, that's what we're chasing. And so I see success as more relationships and like how I'm viewing myself as a person. And I love how she talks about that. And it's so true, Leah. If you look at the two women she compares in the introduction, the one just decided to take a leap of faith and decided, like, okay, like if it doesn't work out, guess what? We'll figure it out, right? Like, everything is figure outable. And that was her attitude. She was just like, if it doesn't work out, like, we'll do something else, right? And the other one was, I'm the people pleaser. This is what people think I should do. This is the box that, my family or my friends have put me in. And that's what she did. And so, Angela took the leap of faith. Michelle was the people pleaser. And so you have two different people who were raised very similar, but had two different paths because of their thoughts and their choices. And so I thought that was very interesting, because how many people did you probably go to school with or grow up with that have, you know, similar situations where, you all were raised the same way, or whatever, and just took two different paths. And I love how she mentioned that it's not talent, it's just a skill difference. Michelle and Angela one was not more talented than the other, right? It was just, there was a skill difference, and it was how they thought. So I thought that was very interesting. It truly is. How many times do we say it? It's really the thoughts that you're thinking and your mindset. Like, the proof is in the pudding. How many books and coachings do we need to go through to realize it's us? We're the problem. I want that shirt that says, "Hi, I'm the problem. It's me." It's me. I'm the problem. But, how many of you related to the part where she talks about that you felt guilty for pursuing more? How many in this have you felt guilty for pursuing more? Like, really? Has anybody else felt that? Because I know as a mom, it's so easy to feel like I'm letting my family down because I'm running a business, or like I'm going back to school. So like I'm giving up time for my kids or whatever it is, or I'm giving time away from my husband, or, or maybe I had to say no to a friend's activity because it was the end of the month or whatever it is. We feel guilty for those things. And mom guilt is truly, like, I feel like it is a thing, but it's how you view and perceive those things. And when I look at this, I no longer feel guilty that my husband is downstairs getting the kids their medicine and into bed. 6 years ago, I would have been like, no, no, no. Like, I've got it. I'll do it all. You go on the couch. I'll do the medicine and the bedtime. And now I'm like, hey, this, and this needs done. I've got a call, Whoa. And so I think that is like a difference around the whole mom guilt is how you view things. And so when I view the Plexus trips, like, that's a time investment for me, and that's I'm investing in myself. I don't see that as a sacrifice, as I'm missing out being away from my kids. I'm looking at that as I'm investing in my team. I'm investing in my own mindset and my business. And an investment gives you a return, right? A sacrifice gives nothing back. So it's the perspective around like the mom guilt and stuff. But I just thought that was very relatable. And you all can look at the chart. You all know how to read on page 10, the successful women and unsuccessful women. And I'm sure there are things in the unsuccessful part that you're like, crap, like that's kind of how I feel, or that's how my life is, or that's, what I have. Because we all have relationships that drain our time and energy. Like, we all have people in our lives that maybe are a little bit toxic to our mindset. And, maybe we procrastinate a little bit more than what we should. So that whole chart, I feel like, is very eye-opening in itself. And anytime, guys, I don't want to be the only one talking. If you guys have something to say or whatever, like, seriously, just open chat and go, or turn on your microphone. But I liked this. She says, success is a harmony of purpose, resilience, and joy. Like, if I could have 3 things in my life, I feel like that would be like really positive 3 things to have in my life: harmony, purpose, resilience, joy. Like, that's what I want in my life, are those types of things. And so living out your life's purpose, like, what God doesn't want any more for our life than that right there. And just to serve others and to realize it's not about us, but who do you impact? And we impact a lot of people in this business. We impact ourselves, we impact our family, we impact our customers, and we impact people that we probably don't even realize. The people who aren't liking your post, who aren't buying your products, but who you inspire like daily, just with your posting and just being yourself. Like, that's of service too. And the resilience, like, how do you bounce back from things that happen inside your life? Like, what is your meaningful goal? What's your vision? And your vision has to be so clear, because if your vision is not clear and life happens, then guess what? You're totally derailed, right? And then she says joy was Nehemiah 8:10. And I love how she goes back and just like goes kind of like from a biblical approach in a sense, and mentions these things. So it says, the joy of the Lord is your strength. Like, that like is like a motto. Like, let me just paint that on my wall. Like, that is amazing. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Like, not only did he give you a talent, right? He's given you a skill set, and now you're using these to impact others. And that's what your path is in this life, and finding that bigger purpose. But being happy with life where you are. And I love that. So does anybody else have anything to add about the introduction part? I know it's kind of like the introduction, but Leah's notes that she dropped, like summary wise, was like spot on. And then the 7 key decisions, like, it's just the personal decisions that you're going to make throughout this book. And so she kind of just gives you a brief overview, but when you get into these key decisions, I want you to look at your life and how can you relate to this decision, and how can you adopt it to making it work for you in your life. So the one, decision one is I do not downsize my dreams. How many of you have downsized your dreams and you've played like small? If you don't downsize your dreams, that means you have to start expecting more of yourself, expecting more of your relationships, expecting more of your business. And then it isn't things that we do that we most regret, it's the things that we didn't do. That quote was like spot on for me. It isn't the things that we do that we regret, it's what we didn't do. It's what you're procrastinating, it's what you're putting off. Like the things that you're allowing fear to take over, right? Not settling. That's decision number one. Decision number two was I focus on solutions, not the problem. Guys, we're solution oriented. And if you don't have a problem in your life right now, go find one and fix it. If you don't have a problem in your business, go find one and fix it. Like be solution oriented. And I like this, like the Biggie Smalls, more money, more problems, right? Like the bigger your dreams, the more obstacles that you're going to encounter because you're dreaming big, you're focusing on a bigger purpose. So you're going to run into problems. Like life's going to happen, right? Like it's just all the things. So focusing on solutions brings opportunities. I love that because that's like a positive perspective. And promise yourself to be a solution-oriented leader. Lead with solutions. And then problem three was I choose to be authentic. Like if that is one thing that I can tell you to be inside this business is to be authentic. Because if you're posting and you're messaging and you're doing something from a copy paste almost 24/7 and people know you and people know how you talk, you're not being authentic because they see that and they know that's not you. And they can smell that from a mile away. So, be authentic, be yourself, be the best version of you, show up. How do you want to show up? How does, I think it's Emily Gibson. How does Diamond Brianna show up? How does Diamond Andy show up? How does that look? And showing up the best version of you. Decision number four is I choose courage over fear. And I circled this. It says fear is inevitable, but it's not a stop sign. Like it's not to stop, it's not to take your foot off the gas, but it's to keep going. Like you're going to run into fear, you're going to have fear. I'm sorry, you cannot be up here. It's just it's life. Fear is common, fear is normal. Like if you can't say that you have no fear, but it's not a stop sign, it's not stopping you from achieving your success and your happiness. So nurture relationships was the next one, I think. Yes. Success doesn't occur in a vacuum. Like I like that. Like you need people and people need you. And it's so funny because I even wrote this on here, my prayer. And my prayer is when I talk to God, I tell him, please bring me the people that I need in my life, because I know that he's brought me people inside of this business that have affected me and inspired me and made me a better person. And then take me to the people who need me. Like that's what this business is about, truly, is finding the people that can impact you and you can impact them. And if you look at this community, that's what it's really all about. So we know the team is best. And it also says not to do it alone. Happiness and energy come in relationship with others. So if you have good, strong relationship with others, you're going to have happiness. You're going to have more positive energy. And I think that's so important in this business as a mom, as a wife, to have those supportive, nurturing relationships. Number 6 was I will actively seek feedback and grow. I can't tell you how important that is. If you're not asking for feedback, then you can't do it alone, right? You need another set of eyes on your business. This business was not meant to do alone. And you've got to have someone else like give you some constructive criticism and feedback so you can have that, like, okay, I need to do this better. Or maybe this is something that I can work on. This is something they see me doing that maybe I don't see myself, doing or whatever. So you need people to be honest with you, and then you can be honest with yourself. Learn from people who know more. Isn't that what they say? To put yourself in a room full of people who are like richer and more like intelligent than you are. And that's for a reason. That's way you can learn from them. And when people give you feedback, yes, it's not personal, right? If we come to you and say, hey, like we see this or we see that, it's not to be taken personal at all. And I hope you guys know that what we say, like helping you grow or post better or message better, it's not to be taken personal. It's just to make those small tweaks so you can improve and do better. And then number 7 was, I know my purpose and take action daily in the direction of my vision. And so that's just doing your IPA. That's just showing up consistently. And it says consistency is key and it yields results. So when you can do your daily action and do it in the direction of your vision, when you know where you're going and you're showing up and you're doing the things, that's where your purpose comes in and you know the direction of your vision. And if somebody doesn't know where you're going, how can you take them with you, right? You've got to say, come on, get in my van. We're going here, right? We might have to get off and go to the bathroom. We might have to take a back way. I'm the queen of the back ways around here, promise. I can get you there, right? That's what people have to know, okay? So, and I loved that she talked about, for a dream comes through much activity and a fool's voice is known by his many words. Like that is just spot on right there. So Ecclesiastes 5:3, save it, read it. And then the questions I just want you to ask you is like, are you willing to adopt these 7 decisions, the 7 habits? Like, are you willing to do it? And which one is your favorite? Because I have a hard time choosing a favorite. Because I mean, relationships are important. Choosing courage and faith over fear is important. Getting feedback, being authentic. But I really like number 7, knowing my purpose and taking the action daily to move in the direction of my vision. So look at which one would be your favorite. Which one, this is what I want you to really think about. Which one is going to require you to work on the most, or maybe require an attitude shift towards it? So which one is going to require the most work from you or an attitude shift? Sometimes I struggle with relationships. And so that one is that one's always like a work in progress for me. And then attitude wise, I think getting feedback sometimes is always hard for me. Like to ask for it, I guess, to let the ego go and ask for feedback. So I think number 6 is the one that's going to require the attitude shift for me. But I am really excited because this was like the boring part. So I'm like ready to get into it with you guys. So like habit 1, and I think if we'll just do 2 a week because it gives you a whole week. I've been reading almost a whole habit like every night like as I go to bed. So I know habit 1 is a little bit longer and habit 2 is 2, but it gives us a whole week. You guys can do it. Just read like either 10 pages a night before bed, set a timer for 10 minutes, whatever it's going to take, and then just take your notes or use a highlighter as you go. Because I promise you, it's kind of like writing down your goals. If you'll actually like jot some notes down or get a highlighter out, you'll actually remember more of it because you're like actively participating in it. So I guess that's the teacher in me that knows that you've got to like also like work through it and apply it. So next week we'll do habit 1 and habit 2. So believe you can do it. And the next one was get off the hedonic treadmill, which I really liked. That one was a really good chapter because we don't realize that we're on that. And like, it was even funny that I read that a few weeks ago, and our pastor even talked about being on the hedonic treadmill, like as a Christian. And then like I read it in here. And so it's a really good one. So anyways, Kona and I thank you for being a part of our book study and joining us tonight. And next week, you guys can come and have more discussion and not just me. It'll be more interesting once we get into the habit part. But all right, guys, thank you. And I will see you next week. Bye.